Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name is Deeanna and I make videos on mental health, lifestyle and basically just my life. In today's video I'm going to be talking about my new diagnosis. So for about 8 or 9 years now I've been diagnosed with a borderline personality disorder, and for quite a while I have disagreed with it. I never really accepted it from the word go, and then I started to accept it, and then I found out about another diagnosis that I thought suited me better. So I kind of approached my psychiatrist and said, like, do you think that I don't have borderline, I have this other diagnosis? We had a meeting and we discussed everything and anything and pretty much all of my concerns and everything. And usually a psychiatrist appointment is like half an hour maximum. We spent an hour and 15 minutes on this call, but I'm so glad that the outcome of that appointment was actually really positive for me. And I think it also gave him a bit of an understanding as to who I am, what I struggle with, and also just, I don't know, like ways to help me. So when I spoke to him, I basically, said that he said to me that he had a few things he wanted to go through, but then he said, I don't know if you've brought anything to the meeting at all. And so I said, oh yeah, I have actually. I wrote down a few things because my memory is rubbish and I kind of want to approach you and sort of talk about a few things. And he said, okay, what sort of things? Let me just let you go through your list, and then if I've got anything additional to add, then we can go through that afterwards if you haven't already touched on it. So I basically said about the memory. He basically did a quick memory test with me and said that actually he doesn't think I have any problems with my memory, but he's going to double check about what position I am on the NHS waiting list for an ADHD and an autism assessment, like an additional needs assessment, because he thinks that my memory problems are directly related to my attention span and the amount of attention I pay into a conversation. And he basically explained to me, the more attention you have into a conversation, the better your memory is going to be. Whereas if you've got less attention, and it isn't through any fault of your own, but the less attention you have, the less you're going to remember from that conversation. So I said, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm always being told that I'm staring off into space, or I'm not concentrating, or I'm not able to focus on something. So that kind of makes sense. I already knew I had an open referral to the autism people, like an ASD assessment, an additional needs, learning difficulties assessment, and I know I did have that kind of in the pipeline. I've been on the waiting list for about a year, but I think at the moment the NHS waiting lists are 2 to 3 years, so I'm not looking forward to that. I just wanted to quickly say that if you would like to see more content like this, then please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The psychiatrist then said, okay, is there anything else you want to discuss? And I basically brought up the whole topic of me not really agreeing with the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. For those of you who don't know what borderline personality disorder is, I will leave a link to my video about borderline personality disorder in either the card above or in the description box. But basically, borderline personality disorder is a variety of symptoms that are all kind of just pushed into one diagnosis. In my opinion, there is a variety of symptoms that I did meet when I was a lot younger, in comparison to now, where I really don't feel like I meet any of those symptoms, and I really just don't feel like it kind of encompasses what I struggle with. So he said, oh, have you got any ideas as to what you think it might be instead? And I said, well, I've been looking into this diagnosis called Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, and basically it is very similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. It just means that it's more complex than just having, say, 1 or 2 traumas. It is more of a collection of traumas that cause you to kind of behave in different ways. And that's kind of my understanding and the best way to describe it. So we went through briefly all my different traumas with my psychiatrist, and basically he said, oh, well, actually, I'm happy to put that on your diagnosis list because actually it is mentioned throughout your notes and everything. And I goes, oh, is it? I didn't even know that people were writing about the possibility of it being that and having complex traumas. And so he said, yeah, it is actually. People are writing about it on your notes. So I don't understand why it's not on there. And I was like, oh. So actually he decided he was going to put the complex PTSD basically on my list. he said to me, have you ever had any treatment for it? And I said, yes, I've had EMDR. And I will make a video about what EMDR is and my experience of EMDR, but I haven't quite made that video yet, but I will actually make that video and basically talk about my experiences of it all. But yes, I had EMDR, and that is a specialised trauma therapy in comparison to having like CBT or DBT or something like that, although those can be used for traumatic like experiences, but EMDR is actually a specific trauma therapy. But overall, I am really happy with the fact that my psychiatrist listened to me, and I felt valued and listened to in that appointment. I felt like he actually took into consideration what I wanted and how I wanted things to go in my treatment, and he actually like properly listened to what I had to say. And he had time to discuss what his feelings were, and he also basically talked to me like a human. I spent so many years of my life with different diagnoses and doctors kind of just almost talking about me sometimes, but also like dismissing my symptoms a lot. So yeah, I might do that as a story time another time, but basically I've had a lot of experiences where doctors have basically told me that because I had borderline personality disorder, or because I do have borderline, that I don't need this or I don't need that. And it's literally like, so I actually said to one doctor once, I goes, so you're telling me because I have this diagnosis, which may be correct or incorrect, you're not going to do this solely because of the diagnosis? And he said yes. I found that really unprofessional, the fact that he had looked at my diagnosis list, had seen borderline personality disorder, and had pretty much just dismissed my struggles even before he'd met me. But that is the reality of what some doctors like and how they treat people with borderline personality disorder. That is the reality of the stigmatization of that condition, because they borderline personality disorder is seen very much as an attention-seeking condition, which it's not. But I understand how it can come across as that because of the collection of symptoms and because of what it encompasses. So if you would like to see me do a EMDR video and also a story time of being dismissed by a doctor because of my diagnosis video, then please leave a comment down below or like this video. Either one, it means so much to me to have a supportive audience. So if you would like either of those videos, then please like this video.